Hello everybody, welcome to Short Shot Archery, Anthony here, and today I'm going to be changing this right-handed finger tab into a left-handed finger tab. Now, I think this should be pretty straightforward for the most part. We may have to get into bending some portions of this tab to make it work, but I'm going to take you on that adventure and we're going to find out how easy it is to convert from one to the other. Now, should this be something you should do with all your products every time you want to switch from left to right-handed, or you have a couple of right-handed tabs and you want to make one left for somebody else? It's probably going to be easier just to go out and buy one, but for just the sake of trying this and the fact that I do need a left-handed tab, and I got a ton of these. I have like a dozen right-handed tabs. I can sacrifice one without losing too much sleep over it. So let's get into modifying this right-handed tab to a left-handed tab and find out if it is something that is practical. Alright, so after we got done looking at the dog, we're going to talk about this tab first before I start taking it apart, and I'm going to try to explain what I want to do with it. Now, for the most part, this is going to be pretty straightforward to modify this right-handed tab to left-handed. Well, it's missing some screws, but so aren't, we're all missing some screws. So, I got to take out the screws here that are holding the suede and the leather to the metal plate. That's going to be easy. The screw holes look like they go all the way through because I've over-screwed them before in the past, and you can actually feel the screw poking through the other side. So I know the threading runs all the way through, so that should be easy to flip-flop. It'll be a matter of cutting out left-handed leather and suede for this tab. So that's something I have to do. I guess in your situation you may have to go and purchase left-handed suede and leather face for your tab. I happen to have leather handy and suede handy, so I can just go and cut my own and punch my own out. But that's definitely not something everybody can just do. It's also expensive to buy that much leather. Other than that, I think the finger spacer, must not be too interesting. Dog's leaving. The finger spacer should be able to be flipped, and it's a right one right here, but I should be able to make it left without an issue. Other than that, the holder, or not the holder, but this elastic band that pretty much holds your finger in place, whatever we want to call that. That can just be threaded right through to the other side. Super easy. It goes right through the leather and the suede, and there's already holes in the tab to make that happen. So again, super easy modification. The only one that we're going to have to do some questionable things for, because I don't have a left-handed shelf, is this right-handed shelf has to be made left-handed. And at this point in time, looking at it, still constructed, I haven't taken it apart yet. The only thing I can think of is I'm going to have to heat this up and then bend it to be a left-handed shelf. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if it makes a mess. Again, it may be something you actually just have to go out and buy. It's kind of, you got to be really careful about heating up metal and things like that. So it's definitely something you probably don't want to do at home. I have a garage, so I'm going to put it in a vise, and I'm going to have plenty of water around. All those precautions are going to be taken care of. But that's the only other real questionable thing about this, is trying to make this right-handed shelf actually left-handed. Okay, so we got our 2 sets of Allen keys and a screwdriver, and we're going to go take this apart now. This is going to be super easy. So that's already done. And that'll be easy to flip. Take off our shelf. Take off our finger spacer. And all we have left now is the Phillips head screws here. And you can start putting them on the other side. For some of this, we could probably just flip. All right, well, there's a start. All right, welcome to the Short Shot Garage. We got a hammer, we got pliers, we have a vise, and it has our shelf in it. So now we're going to attempt to heat this up with, all we got is propane. Is this propane? Yeah, it's propane. So this may or may not work. We will find out. We may actually need like MAP gas or something. But we're not that fancy here. All right, let's see. Back up again, change position. It seems to be a lot better of a position. It's going to let me bend it easier. Oh, wow. Wow, we're getting somewhere. This is probably a terrible idea, and this might actually be really uncomfortable. So I may just actually just get a new one. But we'll find out. You don't know until you try, right? All right, so that was a terrible idea, and now I can actually tell you why it's a terrible idea. The way that I guess AAE made this shelf, and to no fault of their own, you're not supposed to be turning their right-handed tabs left-handed, but because of the mount being right under, well, it's not really right under the shelf anymore, but it was right under the shelf. There's not really an accurate way or a consistent way to actually bend it to make it work properly for a left-handed bow. Your best option would probably be to cut it off and then weld it back on the opposite way so that it would work for the left-handed bow, or left-handed person. Other than that, round 2 is going to be just finding a left-handed shelf and sticking that onto the finger tab, because otherwise there's no reasonable way to do this unless you actually just make your own out of a piece of plastic or wood, or I guess if you have the capability to make one out of metal, then you should just start your own finger tab company. But yeah, okay. Back to the construction of the rest of this right-handed tab that is becoming a left-handed tab minus a shelf. All right, so we got our piece of leather traced out, got our holes in it. Now we just need to take our punch those holes out, and of course we've already trimmed around it, so we have the right size. It'll fit up quite nicely with our tab. This is my left hand, and as you can see, it'll fit good. Of course, this is for a shooter that has smaller hands than me, so that's why it's a little crazy. Now I'm just using the old one to size the holes up, make sure I have the right punch size, and then that way I don't have to worry about over or under punching the holes I want for this tab. Alright, now we got our two pieces matched up to each other, and I'm going to try to run some screws through them, hopefully, if they want to cooperate with me. And once I have that, I'm going to put to the next one here, and then I'm going to go and screw this to the plate. So, that, and then that. It's a little awkward for me since I am a right-handed shooter. This is a little bit, it's a little bit different to be trying to fit this up for a lefty, but that is all right. So if you see me fiddling around with it sometimes, it's probably because I'm like, wait a second, gotta reorientate myself, gotta figure out, oh, okay, yeah, this is what we want. See, because like for a righty now, this is just totally backwards. But for a lefty, look at that. We're actually getting a tab put together. It's looking pretty nice. We just need some, a few more screws in it, and we'll run the other thing. So just give me a moment. I'm going to screw some more little screws into this so that it stays together better. All right, now we're going to go put in our elastic so that we can actually attach this to our finger. We got one side, and let's see, get the second. Aha, there we go. We snuck in that second one. We'll get our little clip and stick it in between. All right. So look at that. Putting it on my left hand here. All right, we got a tab forming here. So the only things we're missing now is the shelf and the finger spacer that's going to go right here. Now we have the finger spacer covered. I should just be able to flip this backwards because it was on, this tab when it was a right-handed tab, and it should just bolt right in there. And the only thing I'm going to have to pick up is the shelf for the top of this. All right, a little off-camera fiddling there, and there we go. We have almost a complete tab. The only thing we're missing is the shelf right on top here. All right, welcome back to the garage again, and this is round 2 with the right-handed shelf that needs to become left-handed. We're kind of going to a welding option. It's not exactly welding. Well, it's some sort of welding, I guess. Brazening. I believe that's the correct word. Basically, I am going to hacksaw this off, the shelf off from the attachment point. I'm going to hacksaw that off. I'm going to rotate it the correct way so that it'll actually work for a left-handed shooter. And then I will try to use this aluminum brazing rod here to reattach the attachment arm to the shelf, but for a left-handed archer. This may be a complete mess, or it's actually going to come out really awesome. We'll find out. I'm going to be using propane for this, but I may actually have to run out to the store and pick up some MAP gas to actually make this work. It's supposed to work with propane based on the YouTube videos I've watched from others that actually did welding, not of archery equipment, but just welding in general. They did recommend this method if you don't have a welder. So with that, let's get started. This is going to be a grand adventure. Alright, this is the closest we've gotten. It's looking pretty good. Let's see if we can zoom in a little better and check this out. There we go. As you can see, it looks like it has definitely welded a little bit better, at least the best yet. So we'll give it a try. We're waiting for it to cool off, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we finished the tab. It's cold in here, so yeah, we're sticking with the jacket and the hat on. But that's alright, because yes, the tab is done, and now we can feel good about actually converting a right-handed finger tab into a left-handed finger tab. We finally managed to weld together the two pieces, or I guess raisin together. I'm sure it's not exactly welding. Basically, we soldered them together. We finally got that to work. Took a lot of tries. Big thanks to my dad, actually, for making that happen. We had to try some, really an interesting technique because of how, I guess, like the vise was set up and such, and the garage being so cold. We needed to really isolate it from all of that with that little C-clamp, and it made it work. Other than that, everything else went pretty smooth. But in all, yes, it is it's not really practical. It's plausible that you can convert a finger tab from left to right or right to left, but it really isn't the most efficient use of your time. In all, this took about 8 hours worth of work between like figuring things out. I had to punch out all the leather. Most people don't have the leather on hand, so that's another whole story. Then you're gonna have to go to like your Home Depot or whatever to get the aluminum brazing rods to actually weld together your shelf, because you're gonna have to cut your shelf in order to flip it upside down and then rotate it so that it actually works. Because this part here, the top, was actually the bottom. This more more aluminum part. This part that looks more like regular aluminum and not burnt aluminum is actually where the shelf's little I guess neck used to be, that allowed you to attach it to the right-handed tab. That all had to get flipped around. So it's quite a process. Could I do another one a lot quicker now? Yes. It would still take a couple hours, taking everything apart, punching new leather, and then, accurately cutting the shelf and then welding it back together. But in all, you're probably you're better off just going to buy one. But anybody out there that does like to try crazy things, well, here's the start, and you can learn from my mistakes, because there was plenty. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I enjoyed putting this together for you. I think it was a grand adventure, and somebody is actually going to shoot this tab, so that makes it even better, because I didn't just destroy a right-handed tab to make it a left one. Somebody's actually going to shoot this tab, and we'll find out if it holds up or not. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and as always, happy shooting!